Welcome to EEDE News. I'm Marika Lorraine along with photojournalist Bill Mills, and we have a treat for you. Over the next few days, you'll be getting an in-depth tour of our home while we're out here in the middle of the Pacific. And this tour of the Mermaid Vigilance will be guided by the one and only much beloved, extremely experienced salty sailor, Captain Joe Litchfield.
Here we go, topside. My favorite place to shoot a basket. This here, firefighting equipment. Anything painted in red is firefighting equipment. You can see we have them there and way up as well. Firefighting equipment. Probably the most important thing we do on this vessel is have drills for abandoned ship, man overboard, and fire. That's the same on every vessel. These will actually launch themselves if, God forbid, the vessel should capsize. Right here is what we call a hydrostatic release. Under pressure, this will cut this line, this will float up, and because it's tied off right here, will inflate. So all of the rafts aboard are under that same system. There's enough coverage on each side, so if we couldn't get at this side of the boat for one reason or the other, there's enough raft space on the other side of the boat. So we have 200% coverage on each side of the boat. Let's move up one deck. See, a lot of doors like this keep closed at sea. Authorized personnel only. Well, there's a reason for that. This would be leading into an engine room space or a secured space. It's kept closed all the time. These are dogs. They're down hard. And they have to be kept that way so that if the boat should roll, this would stay water secure. You'll also see these vents right here. Up there, that's the air intake for the main engine room. Two of them. So this boat is protected by a automated fire extinguisher system, and the engine room is CO2. But we wouldn't set off the CO2, even if there was a fire, until we secured these vents. Otherwise, we'd be just wasting the CO2. The crewmen, when they train for fires, all have their duties of which vents they're in charge of closing. And you'll notice all around the vessel, especially down on this main deck, there are signs in the event of fire close. So these things sometimes go unnoticed by the charter folks, but me being an experienced seaman, I know where they are just instinctively. Let's move forward. Here we have another situation, what I was just talking about. A fire hose box, another secure door, and another vent that would be closed in case of fire. That's the sign for it. Here we are. This is the foredeck. Again, the deck bulwarks, escape hatch, and our main anchoring system right here. Now, on the stern, you may recall we had capstans. We don't have a capstan up here. Well, we do have two of them, but we use the reel instead of the capstan for the most part for our tie-up lines coming out this bollard. We do have a couple of three capstans attached to that too, that we do our secondary lines on. This is called anchor chain, okay. This is called the devil's claw. This holds it, prevents the chain from slipping out more than that link, okay? It's just a collector there. And it's also tied off right here. So when we go to do the anchor, this comes off, that rope, this comes up, he backs it down to a certain point, then lets it go on the brake. The brakes are pretty big. You can see one there and one there. You can see that we're kind of a rounded bow here. It's not the pointy classic bow that you might see on an older vessel, but it's effective. Took me a little while to get used to it. I kind of like the old lines that I'm used to back in Maine with the pointy bow. when people didn't understand where I wanted them to go, I'd just say, go to the pointy end. And then they got the message. But that's old-fashioned now at this point in my life. The thing in the middle with the round thing is called a Kentscope. A Kentscope was developed by a fellow in England during World War I, I think it was. And it spins fast. And if it's raining or snowing or icing, that will stay clear. It's also called a clear scope. And you'll see it when we go up there. And they're a good thing to have in severe weather, rain, or in Alaska, of course, we use them to keep, oftentimes the only window you can see out would be that little one because of the ice. And I was kind of surprised to see that on this vessel because it operates in the south so much. One of the things you'll see all around the boat is a heaving line. This is called the monkey's fist. To get the big lines to the dock, throw that, tie the bitter end on to that line, and then the shore guys pull it to the dock. Then we tighten it up on the winch or on the capstan. More of what I'm talking about. Safety stuff. Blue is potable water. Going topside. This next level is called Tween decks. Not much to see here. That's a berthing area. But we're going to go all the way up to the bridge. Someone counted the steps to make it up here. I forgot how many. There's quite a bit from that main deck, which we'll show you in a moment. It's quite a hike to get up here, but it's well worth the view. And you can see that that next deck's down. It's called a Tween deck. Here we are at the bridge level deck. And a couple of interesting things up here right off the bat is we always have life rings ready to deploy. This one here is an automated one. If somebody fall overboard, the captain can just pull this. It will fall over, and will fall over with a smoke buoy and a light buoy. That's a requirement on all vessels on both sides. That's got smoke and light and can be pulled all at once. It just falls out right there. You can see that they're tied off to the life ring. It's an important piece that everybody should know about. If they're up here, they'd launch that if somebody fell over. This is a repeater compass. This compass is being repeated from information gained from the bridge. And so what's that for? Well, if we're taking a sighting on something, we could just line ourselves up and get a really accurate bearing to tell the people in the wheelhouse with the radio the exact bearing on a particular thing. You would put a sight glass on this called Polaris, and you could get exactly the bearing on an object, which they might not be able to see from the bridge. It's just a repeater, compass repeater. Main engine stacks. All the exhaust right here. Generators and the main engine, big one. And you probably noticed that when we're up here, the roll was exaggerated. That's because we're so high. When we're on the main deck, it didn't seem like it was rolling at all. So, just like the momentum up here is a lot greater. The moment of roll, it's called. That's why the preferred berthing area is down close to the main deck, center of gravity.
Next up on our tour of the Mermaid Vigilance, Captain Joe will show us the bridge and we'll meet Captain Noe. I'm Marika Lorraine, along with photojournalist Bill Mills, saying goodnight from the Pacific.